Hey everybody, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today's video we're going to start a new series where I go over my comic book hauls like I normally do, but we're going to focus now on the sellers that I'm buying from. Will I be buying from these sellers again? Now, a lot of these will be from Whatnot, and some of them will be other online sources like eBay or Facebook. Sometimes it'll be in person. I go back to that LCS. So as I do these comic book hauls, we're going to focus on the books that I got, of course, but we're also going to be talking about, will I go back to them? Will I buy from them again? Do I like the value I'm getting from the books? Now, if it's in person, that's a little bit different because you can obviously judge by the book, judge the book in person. You can see, you can make your own decision. So probably a little bit less I'll be talking about this in person, but definitely online where you don't have that opportunity to really examine a book in hand, of course. So you're relying on photos and the word of the seller. Now, this is very important on Whatnot because it is so difficult to be able to see that book. You're relying on that seller to be 100% upfront and to disclose every little defect that they can possibly give you, because you have such a short limited time to even see the book, even if they even show it to you. There are some sellers that will just put the book out there and say, hey, go get it, there it is, and not really go into the condition. There are other sellers that are real good. They will talk to you about the book. They'll show it to you. They'll do a close-up of it, and they'll go down the edges. But even that, it's still difficult. You can still get books that make it through that maybe you paid too much for, because there's definitely a lot of FOMO going on Whatnot. You get caught up in that bidding, you get caught up in winning, and all of a sudden you're overpaying for a book, and then you get that book in and you realize, wow, I overpaid for that because that condition was not, I wouldn't say a completely dishonest condition, but it's definitely not in the condition that you were kind of being led to believe it was going to be. So I don't even know how much room you have to argue if you go back to Whatnot and say, hey, this book is not even close to what I've expected to get. I guess in egregious cases, I've heard that people have gone back and complained about that and gone back to the seller. But in a lot of cases, is it a difference between, going from a near mint to a near mint minus or a very fine plus? I mean, what is that line? And I guess what I want to talk about in this series of shows is I want to talk about sellers. This is a focus on the sellers, and I want to focus on, do I have enough trust in them to give me the book I think I'm really paying for? So in that right here, I've got them sitting right here. I've got four different sellers, three of them being from Whatnot, and one of them being from their, I'm a fan of their Facebook page, and they do auctions on that page. So let's actually do that one first. And I'm talking about Third Eye Comics. Their main office, their flagship, is down in Annapolis, Maryland. You guys know I talk about going down to Third Eye an awful lot. They are my LCS that I go to almost every Wednesday for my new comic book days, for my, the reason I go there is they've got so many books that they get a lot of the ratios and the limited edition covers each week that sometimes I take advantage of that, sometimes I don't. But there's other LCSs in the area that I claim as my own as well, but this is the one I go to normally on Wednesdays, and I save the other ones for other reasons. And I'm a fan of them on Facebook. They have a fan page. Well, they have a page called Third Eye Auctions. And the way they run this auction is they will start after 10 o'clock in the day, and they will basically put a listing up for every comic or every comic lot that they are offering. And you're free to put your bid in the comments, and then at 10 o'clock the next day, whatever the highest bid is at 10 o'clock basically is the winning bid. So you can go in there and put an extraordinarily high bid, and people probably won't bid again, but that's a perfect formula for you to overbid on something completely. And all they provide you is one photo of the book. It's usually in a bag. You can't see it. I've tried to enlarge it and try to get a better look at it. Sometimes you can see ticks, sometimes you can't. And there's not, I suppose it's on me. Maybe I need to contact Third Eye during the day, because it runs from basically after, as soon as they post it, after 10 a.m. till 10 a.m. the next day. You got 24 hours, well, working hours, I suppose, to contact them if you really want to see other pictures. So I guess in this sense, this one's a little bit on me and not on them. But let me show you some of the books that I've just recently picked up in my last auction from them. I did pick up a copy of Hulk #1. This is a book I have bought before, and I thought that I would end up getting a pretty good deal on this. It ended up going for about $65, and that's about the amount that I would want to pay for it. I wouldn't have gone above this, and the photos look really good. Yet when I get this book back, got this book in, there is a really nasty color-breaking spine tick over here. And again, I think, guys, this is a case of me not doing my due diligence. I think this is a case where I need to, if I'm really interested in that book, I need to contact them, and early enough that they have time to evaluate it. I'm not even sure how well they'll get back to me on this, but let's put it this way. This is the start of a books that I picked up from their last auction that, if they had been near mint, well, if they're near mint, they're going to be valuable books to a certain degree, especially because you know me. I look for books that I can get graded, not just for resale. So I don't mind paying a little bit higher price on something like this if I think I can turn this around to a 9.8, maybe a 9.6. And right now, I'm not sure I can even get this one to a 9.6. So I feel like there's a case, I feel like I've overpaid. Picked up, this was mostly because it was a cover buy, $5. It wasn't a big deal. I thought it looked pretty clean online. Once I got it, nasty spine tick over here. Just, you can't pick it up in a photo. You can't see it. But I love this cover, this beautiful cover of Buffy. This is Buffy Season 8, #1, one of the Virgin covers. I don't know who the artist is. But for $5, that one didn't bother me. I wasn't looking to spec on that, but just a cover buy. And then the last auction I picked up from this one day's worth of auctions was, I picked up a full set of Secret Invasion, issues 1 through 8. So we'll just go through them. There's issue 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5, 6, 7, and here, I'm going to pull them out, and issue number 8. And I really bought this because at the time the price hadn't gone up too much on this lot. I think I put a bid in at about $45. Honestly, I would have probably paid that if this had been a near mint. Maybe I wouldn't have paid. I'd rather pay around that $25, maybe $30 for this. But considering I was going to get the whole lot of these books, I went ahead and put in a bid for $45, mostly to get the first issue. And again, one photo, you don't see every issue there, but you definitely see this one. And it looked as clean as I could. It looked clean on the photo that they provided, but just an absolutely atrocious color-breaking tick over here. So here's my lesson learned on Third Eye auctions. Maybe I need to, as I said, let's contact Third Eye and say, hey, I'm interested in this, bidding on this book. Can I get additional photos? Maybe this is an experiment. Maybe the next time they run one, I will do this and give you feedback on that. But right now, my overall feeling is I'm going to avoid Third Eye auctions for the time being, just because I feel like I'm starting to overpay on some of these books because of the condition. And yeah, there you go. Now, it's not to say that I haven't won auctions in the past, that I definitely felt like I got some good values and some good books. It's a kind of a hit or miss thing, but again, it was just taking, to me at this point, it's taking too much of a chance. So I'm going to pull off of these auctions for a while and just not deal with them unless I see something pop up that I'm interested in, and then we'll run that experiment and I'll contact them and say, hey, can I see other photos of this? So there's Third Eye. And the other 3 I've got are all Whatnot sellers, and they were sellers that I follow. So, and I've only got one book from each one of these, so this is not a great sampling, but it's sellers that I have bought from before. So that should give you a little bit of indication that if I bought from them before, there's a little bit of this that, okay, I like the books that they're providing, and I've liked the condition. So right now, we're just going to evaluate the books that I bought from the last three purchases from these guys. Now, this is from Pressing Matters on there. This is issue 64 of Spider-Man. This is one of the 3 issues that I owned as a kid. I found them in my grandparents' house. Definitely one of my uncles who grew up there left behind many years earlier. I had issue 59, issue 64, and I believe it was issue 78. Is that the first issue with the Prowler? Those are the 3 that I always had, and I love this. This is one of my favorite covers. I love the gray wash on the city background here. It's just so dynamic. John Romita at his finest. I actually took my original copy of that, and it was in decent shape, and I probably about 10, 12 years ago, I'm not sure when, John Romita and John Romita Senior and Junior were both at the Baltimore Comic-Con, and I ended up getting Senior to sign my original copy that I had of this issue, because of the 3, this was always my favorite. I ended up buying this I came into their auction late, they had this, and I ended up buying it. The condition was pretty much as described. It's not perfect, but that's fine because they described it in a certain ways. Like it's going to be probably mid-grade to maybe slightly above mid-grade. And that's what I expected on something like this. So at the moment, Pressing Matters is still on the list. I will go back to them and see if there's other books that I'm interested in. So I'm going to Whatnot and I am bookmarking those guys. I follow them and I will bookmark their future shows so when they show up, I'll be able to see what they've got for sale. So giving a thumbs up right now for Pressing Matters on Whatnot. The last book that just came in was also from Whatnot. This is from Searchlight Comics. And I've bought from them multiple times. In fact, I've got another order that's coming in the next few days. But this was a single pickup on one of their days that they were running an auction. And, of course, this is She-Hulk, Sensational She-Hulk #1. Of course, we got the TV show going on, which has not helped the sales of these books. But you know what? This book is so fantastic, including even the Savage She-Hulk. These books, first issues on both of those, are just fantastic books. Absolutely. I don't care what you think of that. The MCU show on Disney Plus. It has its pluses, it has a ton of minuses, but man, I'm telling you, I love this book. I love having this book. I've sold this several times. I've gotten them graded. I've got 9.8s. I got 9.6s. So that brings us to today. I bought this issue, and I don't have the price on me and right in front of me, so I can't give you that exactly. But this is one where I felt like online it was a little bit better shape than I actually got it. It is not in bad shape. This is a minor issue, and this is just me hoping that I'm going to be able to pull a book that has a pressable defect that I can punch up to a 9.8. I don't put this on Searchlight Comics on this. This is a fine book right here. The defect that I see here is a little bit of color rub, and that's about it. So overall, thumbs up for Searchlight Comics. I will be going back to you guys as well. And I'm looking forward to the order that'll be coming in the next few days. I know that Whatnot reached out and said because of the hurricane and the storm, there's going to be some delays over the next week or so. So some of these orders will be coming back in, and we'll come back to the series every time I do one of these purchases online, and I have enough books to do a video. We'll come back to it. All right, and then the last one I've got is from Robot Monster Island, a Whatnot seller, and I came into their auction late. I had just popped in. I wasn't following when the show was, but I had popped in. Knew this is one of the sellers I've bought from before. I've been happy with their comics, just like the other ones from Whatnot so far today. And I picked up an issue of Alpha Flight #1. Now, this is an issue that I own multiple copies of growing up. Loved the John Byrne series. I loved all of that. I loved the new characters. I love this cover especially. It's hilarious. I had one of the ones I had pressed. I cleaned and pressed it myself. I got it graded. It got a 9.6 on it. I ended up selling that, and I had the second copy, and I put it in. I thought it was a little bit better, and it didn't meet that 9.8 pre-screen that I put in on a order after that first one. So I've been looking to pick up these whenever I see them and try to find good prices. This one I paid about $32 for, and that was a little bit of a trust issue with the seller. They led me to believe this is a really nice copy. Was it? Well, I took a look at it, and I'm telling you, it's a pretty sharp copy. You know, everything's pressable. These books are from the early 80s. You got to press these things. You got to go in there. It's a little hard to see through the plastic, but if there's anything on there, we'll clean and press it. But I don't see any color breaking spine ticks. I'm real happy with this purchase at this point. So thumbs up to Robot Monster Island. I have it written on here so I can remember. That's a long name. Robot Monster Island. So thumbs up to those guys. What I'd say. So that's about it for today. That's 4 sellers. I'm going to put a pause on Third Eye Comics auctions. I'll revisit them, and we'll come back to them, and maybe we'll talk about them again at some point. But as far as these 3 Whatnot sellers, I would go back to them right now, depending on what they're selling and what I'm interested in. This is why I only have 1 book from each of these right here. These are the books that I was interested in. There's nothing else that they were selling. I'm trying to pull back and not just buy stuff and buy stuff and buy stuff. I'm trying to be a little mindful of what I'm getting sometimes. And yeah, so these are the books I got. I'm happy with all 3 of them. For the most part, they describe them as good as possible, and I'm happy with them. I would recommend at this point going to them if you're interested in following them on Whatnot. So anyway, guys, that's it. I hope you like this little bit of a format change to the comic book haul video. Hope this is helpful to you guys. I hope you get something out of this. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this is helpful to you guys. Let me know if you are a buyer of any of these online sources. I'd love to know. So, guys, that's it. I'm out of here. We'll see you for the next one. Take care.